Aliens mocked humanity until our stealth fleet unleashed the unexpected, the gathering storm. In the sprawling galactic arena, humanity was a newcomer, barely scratching the surface of interstellar politics. To most of the powerful empires, humanity was little more than a curiosity, a developing species with just enough technology to join the galactic community but nowhere near enough to pose any threat. The Gresh Collective, a powerful and arrogant alliance of alien species, had a particularly dismissive view of humans. Human diplomats, scientists, and even military leaders had heard the rumors. Gresh leaders openly scoffed at humanity, mocking their primitive technology and their short-sighted ambitions. Humans, they believed, were only as good as their entertainment value, a species that might offer a laugh or two but never a serious challenge, and the Gresh made sure the humans knew it. In response, humanity's leaders issued a public call for peace and unity, but secretly, the United Earth Coalition had begun a project of unprecedented ambition. It was called Project Ghost Fleet, and it aimed to create a stealth armada unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity's top scientists and engineers worked in utmost secrecy, developing technology that could mask a ship's energy signature, block hyperspace scans, and even reflect light to make vessels nearly invisible to the naked eye. For years, no one outside of a few humans even suspected the existence of Project Ghost Fleet, and those who did know about it called it folly, saying that Earth was wasting resources on a weapon they would never be able to use. Then came the incident that changed everything. It started with an interstellar conference held on Ventari 9, a neutral planet in the heart of Gresh space. The gathering was meant to strengthen alliances, broker trade agreements, and welcome humanity into the galactic fold as a non-threatening trade partner. But to humanity's surprise, the Gresh announced, midway through the conference, that they would be seizing Earth's most valuable mining outposts in the Zeta Draconis system. These outposts, small but rich in rare minerals, were essential to Earth's economy. Ambassador Liao, Earth's representative, was shocked. "You're proposing to take our outposts by force?" she demanded, her voice barely concealing her outrage. The Gresh Chancellor, a hulking creature with 4 eyes and scales that shimmered in shades of violet and green, merely laughed. "We do not propose it, Ambassador Liao. We announce it. We need those resources, and your people lack the strength to keep them." The room filled with mocking laughter from the Gresh delegates and other alien representatives, who viewed humanity's attempts at diplomacy as naive. Ambassador Liao's face flushed, but she managed to keep her composure. "You underestimate us," she said, a warning glint in her eye. "Earth will not stand idly by." "Oh, we know that," the Chancellor chuckled. "But what could you possibly do with those flimsy warships of yours? A small patrol fleet is already en route to secure the outposts. You should consider this charity." Back on Earth, the news of the Gresh's declaration sparked a frenzy. The United Earth Coalition immediately went into emergency meetings, and for the first time in decades, Project Ghost Fleet was brought to light. High-ranking officials and military leaders weighed their options. Diplomatic measures were failing. Economic repercussions were inevitable if the Gresh seized those outposts. And, ultimately, there was the question of humanity's pride, something that burned hot and fierce in the hearts of all who'd been mocked and dismissed for too long. Admiral Marcus Hark, commander of Project Ghost Fleet, addressed the assembly in a closed-room meeting. "For years, we have hidden our best technology, waiting for a moment like this. If the Gresh truly believe we're powerless, then it's time we show them the error of their assumptions." Some officials were hesitant. Humanity was known for its careful diplomacy, not outright military strength. But Hark insisted, the Ghost Fleet wasn't built to be a first strike. It was built as a shield, something that would remind our enemies that we're not to be trifled with. "I say we launch." With a nod from Earth's top council, the order was given. In the cold reaches of space, deep within a massive nebula that blocked scans, humanity's first fully operational stealth armada waited. Unlike any ships seen before, these vessels reflected no light, emitted no detectable energy signature, and were equipped with advanced weaponry that had been perfected in secret. Aboard the flagship, UEC Phantom, Admiral Hark stood on the bridge, watching his officers prepare for launch. Rows of screens flickered with tactical data as navigation plotted a course directly for the Zeta Draconis system. The fleet was completely silent, its stealth systems humming with a quiet power that felt almost alive. "We'll arrive undetected," Hark said, his voice a low rumble as he addressed his officers. "The Gresh won't even know we're there until it's too late, and then they'll see exactly what we're capable of." the Ghost Fleet slipped into hyperspace, leaving no trace in its wake. A journey that would have taken days for a regular fleet would take mere hours for them, thanks to their advanced hyperspace engines. As they neared the Zeta Draconis system, every crew member felt a surge of anticipation. They were about to make history and prove to the galaxy that humanity was not a species to be mocked or belittled. As they exited hyperspace, the Gresh patrol fleet loomed in the distance, a collection of large, heavily armed warships. The Gresh soldiers on board were completely oblivious, relaxed and overconfident, secure in their belief that this mission would be a simple show of force against a weaker race. But when the first human ship uncloaked, followed by another, then another, until the entire fleet hung in silent formation, the Gresh realized, far too late, the depths of their mistake. The unseen strike. The Gresh patrol fleet drifted in formation around the mining outposts, their ships bristling with cannons and energy shields, confident in their supremacy. Aboard the Gresh flagship, Kareth, Captain Drazek leaned back in his command seat, talons tapping impatiently against the armrest. "This should be quick and clean," he muttered to his officers, his tone bored. "Humans might put up a little resistance, but we're well within Gresh space. They'll see reason soon enough." But just as he relaxed, a warning light blinked on his console. His comms officer, a lean, silver-skinned alien, turned with wide eyes. "Captain, unknown energy signatures detected. Multiple contacts bearing 080, 20,000 kilometers out." Drazek squinted, unsure. Energy signatures? From what? But before he could finish, the sensors flared again, brighter this time. A human warship uncloaked just off their port side, sleek and silent. Its hull was unlike anything the Gresh had ever seen, a dark, predatory shape that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. A second later, another ship appeared, and then another, until an entire fleet of silent shadows surrounded the Gresh patrol. Drazek's heart pounded as he took in the sight of humanity's ghost fleet. "By the stars," he whispered, "they've been hiding this from us." Aboard the UEC Phantom, Admiral Hark observed the enemy fleet on the holoscreen, a slight smirk crossing his face. "Phase 1, he ordered. "Let them know we're here." The Phantom's forward railguns hummed, charging silently before discharging a precise volley toward the Kareth. The impact was immediate, tearing through the Gresh ship's shield with pinpoint accuracy and punching through its hull. For the first time, Drazek and his crew felt the shudder of an attack they had been unprepared for. Hark's voice crackled over an open channel, transmitted directly to the Gresh command bridge. "To the Gresh forces in Zeta Draconis. This is Admiral Marcus Hark of the United Earth Coalition. Your unauthorized occupation is over. You will leave immediately or face the consequences." Drazek spat in anger, adrenaline sparking through him as he activated his weapons systems. "Prepare to fire. Target the closest human vessel an." But the Phantom blinked out of sight, cloaking again, leaving the Gresh flagship to fire blindly into empty space. The rest of the Ghost Fleet followed, maneuvering in and out of sight with flawless precision, each human ship appearing only to unleash a brief, deadly strike before disappearing again. They circled the Gresh fleet like invisible predators, picking off ships one by one. Within minutes, chaos had engulfed the Gresh formation. Human ships materialized at unpredictable intervals, tearing into the Gresh lines before vanishing into the darkness. "They're toying with us," one of Drazek's officers screamed, terror filling his voice as another ship detonated to their starboard. "We're being slaughtered." Aboard the Phantom, Hark watched the disarray on his screen with grim satisfaction. The Gresh fleet was now in total panic, breaking formation and firing wildly into space, their confidence shattered. "Phase 2, he announced, the room tense with anticipation. "Full assault." The Ghost fleet uncloaked, fully revealing their numbers as they closed in on the disoriented Gresh ships. Advanced energy weapons tore through the remaining shields with ruthless precision, and even the flagship Kareth, once the proud leader of the fleet, lay crippled and smoking, its bridge barely functional. As the Phantom approached, Admiral Hark opened the channel to the Kareth once more. Captain Drazek appeared on the screen, his once arrogant expression now a mix of anger and fear. "This is your final chance, Captain," Hark said, voice unyielding. "Withdraw from our sector, or surrender." Drazek's face twisted with fury. "You think this will end here, human? The Gresh Collective will never forget this insult." Hark's face remained impassive. "Then you'll know what to expect if you return. Consider this a lesson in respect." The channel cut, and Hark gave the order for the fleet to take position. watching as the remnants of the Gresh patrol limped away, too damaged and humiliated to continue their mission. The battered Gresh flagship turned and fled, dragging what little remained of their forces back toward their home sector. Back on Earth, news of the Ghost Fleet's victory against the Gresh Collective sparked waves of celebration and awe. Humanity's leaders praised the fleet's stealth technology, and the media hailed the operation as the day humanity stepped out of the shadows. Stories of Earth's hidden power spread rapidly across the galaxy, and the Gresh Collective, once arrogant, now found itself facing political backlash and doubt from its allies. But for Admiral Hark, it was only the beginning. He knew that humanity's reputation had shifted in the eyes of the galaxy. They were no longer newcomers, no longer weak and vulnerable. They were silent, cunning, and willing to protect their own. And though the galaxy had laughed at humanity before, now they knew that humans had the strength to defend their place among the stars. The retaliation, the retreat of the Gresh Collective from the Zeta Draconis system rippled across the galaxy, shaking alliances and fueling whispers of a new power rising. The Ghost Fleet's ambush had shattered the Gresh's image of invincibility. For the first time, the galaxy's strongest factions took humanity seriously, but the Gresh Collective's elite council refused to let their humiliation go unanswered. In the marble halls of the Gresh High Command, Chancellor Krell, the leader of the Gresh Collective, paced before a panel of advisors and generals. He was a fearsome figure, his tall frame casting a shadow across the room, his four dark, intelligent eyes narrowed with rage. Humans, they believe they can shame us, weaken us in front of the galaxy, Krell hissed, each word dripping with fury. They used cowardly tricks and stealth to break our fleet's formation. This is not warfare, it's deception. General Vryas, Krell's chief tactician, cleared his throat. Chancellor, their technology may be advanced, but they remain vulnerable. Our spies have confirmed that humanity's primary defense forces are concentrated around Earth. If we strike their core systems directly, we can cripple them before they can gather their defenses. Krell's four eyes flickered with approval. Then we strike Earth. We'll teach these humans the cost of defiance. The room echoed with the heavy silence of anticipation. Plans were made to gather the Gresh Collective's largest fleet, over 50 warships armed with the latest weaponry, and launch a direct assault on Earth. This time, they would strike with overwhelming force. No more patrols or limited engagements. They would raze humanity's homeworld to ashes. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Admiral Hark sensed a storm on the horizon. He knew the Gresh wouldn't sit idly by. If humanity's surprise attack had shaken the Gresh, a response would come soon, and it wouldn't be small. Hark met with Earth's leaders and top military commanders in the underground war room. Maps and holograms of potential defensive positions glowed dimly in the darkened chamber. We can expect a retaliation, Hark warned, his voice calm but steely. The Gresh will not forgive our strike at Zeta Draconis, and they will come directly for Earth. Our best bet is to lure them away from the planet, into open space where the Ghost Fleet has the advantage. But, Admiral, one of the commanders argued, what if they bypass the fleet? They could reach Earth before we can defend it. That's where the Ghost Fleet's second advantage comes in, Hark replied. Our cloaked ships can jump directly to intercept them mid-route, striking them where they won't expect it. Earth's Prime Minister, Elise Tanaka, nodded thoughtfully. The people are still celebrating the last victory. Admiral, we have to prepare them for a counterattack without causing panic. Hark's expression softened, but only slightly. Prime Minister, we will not allow them to set foot on Earth. The Ghost Fleet will face them long before they reach our skies. 3 days later, Admiral Hark and the Ghost Fleet jumped into position on the outskirts of Earth's solar system, hiding among the asteroid belt. The Gresh assault fleet was already visible on long-range scans, charging through space at breakneck speed. Hark's plan was simple yet daring. The Ghost Fleet would decloak, split the Gresh forces with surprise attacks, and lure them into a maze of dense asteroid fields. When the first Gresh ships entered the field, they encountered nothing but silence. Earth's asteroid belt stretched before them like an endless, cold desert of stone, blocking their scans and disrupting their communications. Where are they? Captain Drazek, recently reassigned to the Vanguard fleet, growled as he strained his eyes at the scanner. Find those human ships, now! But before his crew could respond, the Phantom materialized from behind an asteroid, its dark hull cutting through space like a knife. Hark's voice rang across the open comm channel, grim and steady. To the Gresh Collective, you are not welcome here. Withdraw or be destroyed. Drazek clenched his jaw, refusing to back down. All ships, converge on the human vessel. Crush them! The Gresh ships opened fire, but the Phantom danced through their attack, its thrusters firing in quick, controlled bursts. The Ghost Fleet followed suit, decloaking ship by ship, ambushing the Gresh forces from every angle. Railguns, plasma cannons, and energy weapons lit up the field in bursts of red and blue as the two fleets clashed in deadly chaos. But the Ghost Fleet's cloaking capabilities allowed them to vanish and reappear, striking the Gresh ships with surgical precision, disappearing before they could be targeted. One by one, the Gresh ships fell, the vast, disciplined formation breaking under the relentless assault. In the midst of the battle, Drazek realized he was no longer simply facing a military force. The humans were different, they fought with a ferocity, a sheer resolve that the Gresh had underestimated. It was not just technology that made them dangerous, but their will to survive. Damn them all, Drazek cursed, watching his fleet's numbers dwindle. In desperation, he opened a secure channel to Krell. Chancellor, we're outmatched. These humans, their fleet is unlike anything we've faced. We need reinforcements. But Chancellor Krell's voice was calm, too calm. The collective does not retreat. Captain, you will see this through, no matter the cost. Drazek felt a chill creep down his spine, but he steeled himself. If the Gresh collective demanded his sacrifice, he would give it. Meanwhile, Hark and his crew continued their assault with ruthless precision. They could sense that the Gresh, despite their numbers, were beginning to break. The combined shock of the humans' resilience and advanced technology had taken its toll. Admiral, they're falling back, shouted one of Hark's officers, barely containing her excitement. Their formation is breaking. Hark's expression remained resolute. We press forward, ensure they don't regroup. In one last coordinated push, the Ghost Fleet surrounded the Gresh flagship and its remaining escorts, cornering them against a cluster of asteroids. Drazek's flagship was battered and damaged, its weapons nearly depleted. Hark opened a final calm to the Gresh fleet. This is Admiral Hark. You have nowhere left to run. Surrender now, or face destruction. Captain Drazek clenched his fists, his pride and fear warring within him. For a long moment, he considered his options. To surrender would be to face dishonor among his own people. But if he fought and died, the humans would live to tell the tale of how the mighty Gresh collective had been humiliated by a lesser species. Reluctantly, he turned to his crew. Cease fire. Send a message of surrender to the human fleet. The Ghost Fleet held its position as the Gresh ships powered down, their weapons falling silent. The humans had won, but it was a victory hard-earned, one that came with the knowledge that they had only begun to make enemies among the galaxy's elite. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated, though more somberly this time. Humanity's leaders and citizens now understood the stakes. They were no longer in the shadows but on the main stage of galactic politics, and with that recognition came responsibility and danger. As Admiral Hark looked out over the planet he had sworn to protect, he felt a mixture of pride and foreboding. The Gresh had been humbled, but it was only a matter of time before they sought revenge. He knew the collective would be back, and next time, they would come with a force that humanity would be hard-pressed to counter. Humanity had taken its first step into the galaxy as a power to be reckoned with, but in doing so, they had ignited a spark, a conflict that would eventually shape the future of the galaxy. The Alliance. The defeat of the Gresh collective at the hands of humanity's Ghost Fleet sent ripples across the galaxy. Other species watched in silence, some in admiration, others in fear. Humanity, once dismissed as a minor presence, had shown a capability for both strategy and raw power. But for Admiral Hark, the recent battle was a wake-up call. Earth's resources were finite, and the Gresh collective would return with even greater force. In the heart of the United Earth Coalition, Prime Minister Elise Tanaka called an emergency council. Seated around a massive holotable, military officials, diplomats, and scientists discussed their next move. We can't sustain this kind of defense alone, Tanaka began, her tone firm. The Gresh will come back, and they'll bring the full might of their empire. We need allies, others who want to keep the Gresh in check. Admiral Hark nodded. The Gresh have subjugated dozens of species over the centuries, forcing them into servitude or stealing their resources. Some of those species could be willing to stand against them. Tanaka glanced at her chief diplomat, Aaron Naylor. Begin outreach immediately. Find sympathetic leaders and build connections. Let them know humanity isn't looking for conquest but unity. The council murmured in agreement, and so began the coalition's diplomatic efforts. Several weeks later, in a neutral star system known for its secrecy, humanity's representatives gathered in a hidden meeting place known as the Shadow Court, a neutral station where factions from across the galaxy could meet discreetly. Among those present were the Adranis, a reptilian species whose territory had been annexed by the Gresh, and the Narvani, a technological powerhouse that had avoided direct conflict with the Gresh by maintaining neutrality. Both had arrived at humanity's invitation. Aaron Naylor took the lead, greeting each delegation with respect. As discussions began, it was clear that the Adranis delegation, led by the stern but calculating Commander Sen, was interested in striking back against their oppressors, but the Narvani's representative, an elder named Vilker Tan, seemed hesitant. "What you ask is no small feat," Vilker said, his voice resonant with age and wisdom. "The Gresh collective is vast, and their influence reaches every corner of the galaxy. Why should we risk everything to side with a new power?" Aaron met Vilker's gaze. "Because the Gresh only grow stronger. Humanity's goal isn't to conquer or dominate, it's to ensure a galaxy where no species lives under threat. Standing together isn't about aggression, it's about survival." Commander Sen nodded. "The humans have already proven they can stand against the Gresh in open battle. Their technology is powerful, and their tactics, bold." His tone held admiration. "With the Ghost Fleet, humanity brings something the galaxy hasn't seen before, a true counterbalance." After hours of negotiations, with arguments and assurances exchanged, Vilker finally stood, signaling his agreement. "The Narvani will stand with humanity. But know this, should the Gresh escalate, we expect your support to match ours." Aaron extended a hand in an ancient earth gesture, sealing the alliance. "Together, we'll hold the line." Back on Earth, news of the alliance spread like wildfire. The combined forces of humanity, the Adranis, and the Narvani formed what became known as the Galactic Unity Front, a coalition against oppression. But in the hidden chambers of Gresh High Command, Chancellor Krell watched the growing alliances with cold fury. "Let them gather their strength," Krell snarled. "We'll bring them all to their knees." General Vryas suggested a bold move to hire mercenaries, assassins, and other specialists who could cripple humanity's leadership and weaken their allies before they could fully consolidate their power. With a nod from Krell, the Gresh began deploying covert operatives, targeting key leaders within the Galactic Unity Front. 1 month later, humanity's new allies were already feeling the cost of their allegiance. Sabotage missions, assassinations, and sudden uprisings plagued Narvani and Adrani systems. In one particularly devastating attack, the Narvani lost one of their research stations, a vital hub for producing advanced weaponry. Humanity was targeted as well, with Earth's Prime Minister Tanaka surviving an assassination attempt that left her heavily guarded and confined. Admiral Hark took immediate action. Gathering his top strategists, he formulated a plan to defend his allies, deploying a small contingent of Ghost Fleet vessels to Narvani and Adrani space, each ship equipped with stealth tech to shield against the covert Gresh operations. But he knew they couldn't stay on the defensive forever. It was time to take the fight directly to the Gresh. The final stand. The Galactic Unity Front gathered its fleet, a massive assembly of ships from every allied species, each outfitted with human-designed cloaking tech and defense upgrades. They knew the risks, but the sense of solidarity was undeniable. Together, they represented a formidable force, each ship ready to fight for freedom. The plan was simple but dangerous. Intelligence reports had revealed a key Gresh military outpost deep within their territory, one used as a staging ground for their invasions and supply chain. Taking it down would cripple their ability to wage war and send a powerful message to the galaxy. At the head of the fleet, Hark's Phantom led the way, the Ghost Fleet ready for one last push. They arrived in Gresh space, deep behind enemy lines, and found the outpost heavily fortified. The Gresh were ready for a fight. But they hadn't anticipated an alliance with stealth capabilities to bypass their perimeter defenses. The battle began with the Galactic Unity Front decloaking directly within firing range of the Gresh defenses. It was a chaotic, brutal engagement. Human ships moved in perfect formation, while the Narvani's advanced weapons pummeled the Gresh fleet, and Adrani's ships executed precision strikes, taking out key structures. Explosions lit up the blackness, each blast bringing them closer to victory. Amidst the chaos, Hark's voice rang through the comms, resolute and inspiring. "Today, we end this oppression. Fight with everything you have. Show them that the galaxy won't live in fear any longer." With a final, coordinated strike, the coalition broke through the Gresh defenses, breaching the command station. The battle was hard-fought, but as the last Gresh ship exploded in the dark sky, silence fell. The Gresh had been defeated, their grip over the galaxy shattered. Aftermath and New Horizons. As the Galactic Unity Front regrouped in the aftermath, they mourned their fallen but stood proud. News of the victory spread quickly, and oppressed species across the galaxy found new hope. The Gresh Collective had been humbled, forced into a truce, and their ambitions of dominance thwarted. Back on Earth, humanity's leaders addressed the galaxy with a message of peace. Admiral Hark, now hailed as a hero, reminded all who listened that this was only the beginning of a new era, one where strength was balanced by unity and respect. And so, under the banner of the Galactic Unity Front, the galaxy entered a fragile but hopeful peace. In time, humanity became not only a defender of freedom but a trusted ally, proving that even the smallest of voices, when united, could stand against the largest empires. They had not only secured their place in the galaxy, they had inspired it.